crazy. Hi, my name is Tracey Onohan. I live in Highland, Indiana, which is in northwest Indiana, right outside Chicago, which is known as the region. Thank you. I joined Scentsy family on February 11th in 2011. My Scentsy story started with a basket party that I did as a favor to a cousin. I never heard of Scentsy before, and she was just starting out, so I told her I'd host a party. It was actually a basket party. I took it to work. I poured the testers on the lunchroom table. Then my coworkers and I spent the entire lunch hour sniffing all the scents. My total party order came to over $400. I asked my cousin, so you did absolutely nothing, and you get paid commission on my $400 order? And she looked at me and she said, yep. And that's when I realized I could do this. And I signed up that exact day. My business has always been pretty steady. Prior to reunion last year, I had earned the incentive trips to Punta Cana and Hawaii for myself. I wasn't a big home party girl. I'm more about vendor events and basket parties. I did really well with them, and I didn't feel as invasive doing those. I work full time, and Scentsy was my fun hobby, and I didn't think I could make any more than that out of it. In the beginning, everything I learned about Scentsy, I learned from the forum. My direct upline had went inactive not long after I joined, so I never really knew about things like team meetings, and I had no idea how much Scentsy Family Reunion would make a difference. 2013's Scentsy Family Reunion in Indy was my very first convention. It was awesome. I've always gone to Spring Sprint. It was inexpensive, it was convenient for travel, and I always got a lot out of it. So I always thought that Spring Sprint was plenty. I've always heard people say, you have to go to convention, you just have to experience it. So I rolled my eyes, okay, and went along doing the same things that I had done for the last 2 years that kept me in the exact same spot I was in. But 2013 was different. 2013 was Indianapolis. I'm from Indiana. It was a sign. It was meant to be. The Scentsy gods were trying to tell me something, and I was going to listen. Scentsy Family Reunion 2013 is where I had my aha moment, that moment when it all comes together and everything makes sense. I'm sure many of you have heard of Mary Christensen, best-selling author and now Scentsy Australia country manager. She had spoke of the booking Blitz last year, confirming the success after 2 other Scentsy consultants had talked about it from stage. I had heard of the booking Blitz before, but it was really new to me. I had never done one. If you haven't done it, what it basically is you and a group of people trying to book as many parties as possible in a certain amount of time. Well, that sounded like something I would totally not enjoy doing. I did not feel comfortable asking one person to host, let alone 20. But she said we needed to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, that we needed to get out of our comfort zone, and that if I wasn't hearing a lot of no's, then I wasn't trying hard enough. If you were here last year in Indy, so not technically here, but you'll remember we had about 10 minutes to contact everyone about hosting a party, and this was all done during general session. It could not be mass messaging, it had to be personal. I always hated asking people to host. I felt like I was bothering them, like I was being a stalker. Like I said, I liked my vendor events and my basket parties. That was my comfort zone. So I secretly rolled my eyes again, but I gave it a whirl. I figured that almost everyone knew that I was at the event, so I was just going to blame it on convention. It made me do it. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at convention. I wrote down anybody's name I could think of who had either purchased from me, hosted a party, or was indebted to me in one way or another. I started with texts. I copy and pasted the same text to about 20 people. The text was, I've been challenged at convention to book as many parties as I can within the next 10 minutes. You can pick any Friday, Saturday, or Sunday from August to January. I personally chose Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because I work full-time, and those days work best for me. I gave them the big window with the months so that they wouldn't feel as on the spot to agree to host. If they said November, I at least had them locked down in my book. These were all months during the incentive period, so it was a win-win for me. If they needed to tweak the date later, I'd just deal with it then. We're really so lucky that Scentsy's incentive trip period is during the busiest sales time of the year. Seriously. I have friends that are in other direct sales companies that have their incentive period during the summer and not the holiday season. You know, how much more difficult would that be? This makes it reason 278,409 why I love Scentsy. I also told them how I just had a sneak peek at all the new fall stuff at convention and that they would absolutely love it. And then I ended the text with, which date works best for you? That way, I didn't give them an option to say no, because I'm tricky like that. I then went on Facebook, and I did the same thing with private messaging. I knew my close girlfriends would host. I'm sure you guys do the same thing too. The best friend hosting thread. BFFs have no options when it comes to hosting a party. That is one of the clauses in the best friend contract, and tell them to read it over if they make a fuss. So to all of my BFFs, I sent them texts saying, you are hosting, just pick a date. But I did try to think outside of the box. If someone said they couldn't do it, they didn't want to clean, I told them they could do a basket party instead, that it had the same rewards as a home party. I even told one that she could have a ladies' night out at her favorite restaurant, and she could take the testers there. The funniest thing was that people started to reply. A few said September, some said October, November. I was absolutely blown away. I had to start blocking off dates on my calendar. My calendar up there. The Blitz during session ended and we broke for lunch, but I was still booking parties. I had to get out my calendar to make sure I wasn't doubling up dates. There were people that said no, but for every no, there were 3 yeses. And that's everything that I was writing in my book last year. Within an hour, I had booked 18 parties. Crazy. They were scheduled from August all the way through December. I was giddy as a schoolgirl. It was insane. I could not believe it worked. No more eye rolling. I used the booking blitz to focus on earning the incentive trip and building my team. The previous years, I was only concerned with earning the trip for one person, me. This year, I wanted to really try to earn it for my husband, too. I wasn't sure that I could do it, but I planned what I needed to do each month. I focused on recruiting, which is totally out of my comfort zone. But you know what? I realized that I love doing it, Why wouldn't somebody else love doing it? I offered to flip parties, giving a host their party if they chose to become a consultant. One of the most awesome things about this is 3 of my hosts from Scentsy Family Union 2013 Booking Blitz are now on my team. They run their own. And you know what? These are some of my closest friends. I had parties booked out for months, so I had time to prepare. I went into every party thinking that my next recruit was there, because everyone is a potential consultant. I no longer assume that someone didn't want to join or didn't want to host or didn't want to sell. I was never going to know for sure until I asked them. I made sure to show my excitement about my product at these parties that I booked. People feed off of your excitement about your product. When you're excited, they become excited. They began to call me the crazy Scentsy lady, just completely appropriate. And my excitement became infectious. But the Booking Blitz made me so much more confident about my business. I'm not bothering people when I ask them if they've heard of Scentsy or if they want to host or join. I'm giving them an opportunity to get great products, an opportunity to get great host rewards, and an opportunity to work for the best boss ever, yourself. When I went to convention last year, I was a star consultant, and I had 6 people on my team. In November of last year, I promoted to director. In February, I found out I earned Grace. Amazing. I honestly never in a million years thought I would get it. I was in tears. And in June, I was asked to speak at convention. The same event that inspired me a year ago to make goals for myself and to step out of my comfort zone was now giving me the opportunity to possibly inspire someone else to do the same.